Hi, welcome to Sweet Dreams Wellness Travel. I am Barbara Tuckett, your host, and the owner of Sweet Dreams Travel. I am a wellness travel specialist. I believe that our mind, body, and spirit all play into our well-being, and I create travel experiences which improve your wellness so that you return from your vacation with more health, more happiness, and more connection, both with those you've traveled with and also with your destination. In these episodes, I explore travel and wellness experiences, giving you ideas and recommendations, and also interviewing people who have firsthand experience of the places where you may want to go next. Welcome, let's get started. Hi, and welcome. So excited to have you with me today for today's episode. Today we are going to talk about you might be a wellness traveler if you love adventure. So this is fun. We are going to be talking about water sports, hiking, biking, and so much to experience while on vacation. So I'm super excited about today's topic. We did start talking about wellness travel the last episode that I recorded, and we talked about you might be a wellness traveler if you love your sleep. And we focused on sleeping and getting the right amount of sleep and all these different hotels and resorts and pillows and bedding and all kinds of things. So that was a fun episode. This one I am excited about as well. To be honest, I felt a little overwhelmed with just the idea of adventure travel when I first started, because adventure means so many different things to everybody. For example, your adventure could be just your vacation all on its own. For example, if it's the first time you've experienced that location, or if it's the first time you've been on that type of trip, then just going on the vacation or that trip could be its own adventure. But it also could be something like an extreme experience that you have while you're on your vacation. So for starters, I think that traveling these days is definitely an adventure, no matter where you go and what you do, because of navigating all of the things that are going on in life right now. But we are not going to focus on that. We're going to talk about some specific types of adventure that we like to do while we're on vacation. Some of those include water sports, hiking, biking, and then we'll kind of just briefly touch on some other types of adventures in our vacations. I am going to highlight specifically tell you about a couple of really specific types of trips that you can go on to experience adventures, and the rest of it, let's jump in and get started, and you'll kind of see how this goes. So let's start by talking about water sports. Water sports is probably the biggest type of adventure that people participate in while they're on vacation. Some examples of some fun water sports would be snorkeling or scuba, snuba, which is a combination of snorkeling and scuba, surfing, parasailing or kite surfing, stand-up paddleboarding, windsurfing, flyboarding, and jet skiing. So that's not even all of them, but that's just a handful of ones that a lot of people like to experience while they're on vacation. Many all-inclusive resorts have some type of water sport that is included with your stay. Some non-all-inclusive resorts also have some. For example, they may have stand-up paddleboards, or they may have kayaks, or different things that you can take out and use that are already included with your stay at the resort. Now, the non-motorized water sports are usually not included even in an all-inclusive vacation. For example, if you wanted to rent a jet ski or do parasailing or some other thing that is with a motorized type of water sport, then there's usually a rental cost involved in that. So just kind of a heads up on that. So water sports are super popular and super fun to do while on vacation. Very easy, very accessible. They're really great. One that I thought of, a water sports kind of adventure, has nothing to do with an all-inclusive resort. It is a Lake Tahoe water sports adventure. And it's several days. It includes kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding on the Lake Tahoe. It also includes rafting on the Truckee River, which is nearby. Then it also includes some other types of adventure like inline skating or biking. You can choose to do either one. The trails were made for inline skating, but you could also go on a bike and it would be not very challenging if you biked. And also an opportunity to go hiking in the beautiful Sierra Mountains. So this Lake Tahoe water sports adventure is really fun and different. They have a couple of guides that are included that go along with you, all of your dinners and breakfasts, your hotel stay, and all of the equipment that you need. So anyway, I'm not really going to spend a lot of time talking about this adventure, but this is just one that came to mind that was a different type of water sports adventure that you may not think about. But if it sounds fun to you, let me know and I can get you all the details. Okay, let's move on to the adventure of hiking. Hiking is another really common and popular type of adventure that people love to do while they're on vacation. It ranges everything from day trips where you only just need maybe a day pack to multi-day hiking treks that you can use porters or horses or other animals, even like yaks, to transport your gear and all of the things that you need. So hiking is so versatile and it is a great way to experience the out of the way places in our beautiful world. Of course, for hiking, you don't have to have any guide or trip that specifically works with your hiking. If you don't want, you can just go hiking in your destination, and that is the beauty of it. But you also can have a guide and really kind of get into it a little bit more and explore a little bit more of some areas that maybe you didn't know before. One really fun hiking trip that I wanted to highlight is called the Yellowstone Winter Adventure. So I know a lot of people think of Yellowstone as being this amazing summer tourist destination, but in the winter, very few people get to see it in the winter because it doesn't get visited as often, but it is open under certain conditions and really fun. So this hiking adventure actually involves snowshoeing, which have been known to be called the all-terrain vehicles that strap to your feet. All right. So I just wanted to give you a recap, I guess, blow-by-blow account of what is involved in this Yellowstone Winter Adventure, because I think it's just so fun. It's a 4-night adventure, and there are scheduled set dates for the trip, the tours that you can join. Or if you have a group of at least 4 people, it's very easy to book your own private group. The highlights of this trip are getting to see amazing wildlife like bison, elk, wolves, foxes, coyotes, bighorn sheep, antelope, and bald eagles, and in a season and in a backdrop that most people don't ever get to see. You also get to take a private snow coach into the interior of the park along the rim of the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone and experience Yellowstone's amazing thermal features in the snow and in the winter at Mammoth Hot Springs and Norris Geyser Basin. And then it uses this cute town of Gardner, this small little town, as Yellowstone's north entrance as your home base. So on day 1, your guides meet you around lunchtime in Bozeman, Montana, and that is where you begin and end your adventure. You head to the Wonderland Lodge, which is going to be your base camp, and that's in the small town of Gardner, which is around 90 minutes away from Bozeman. So you have this brief orientation and you pack your energy food and dress for the weather, and then you get out and get to try your first afternoon of snowshoeing. Snowshoeing is probably the easiest sport in the world to learn, super simple, so don't even worry about that. You get a little instructional snowshoeing clinic, and then you set off to explore the groomed loop. It's 1.5 miles around the upper terraces at Mammoth Hot Springs. So because this is at a lower elevation than most of the park, there's a really good chance that you'll see a lot of deer and elk here. So that's fun. And this night, on this first night, your guides host a happy hour and casual dinner in the lodge room in front of a roaring fire. So your total snowshoe mileage today is 1.5 miles with an extra option to do more if you want to. So on day 2, you'll have breakfast in the lodge and pack your trail lunch and then go back to Mammoth Hot Springs. This time you have more time to explore the visitor center, the Mammoth Hotel, and maybe walk the terraces down below the snowshoe trail. And this is where you get introduced to your snow coach. A snow coach is a van fitted with either gigantic snow tires or special treads similar to a snowmobile instead of wheels so that it can easily cross the snow-covered roads. The snow coach takes you out to Indian Creek before dropping everyone out at the start of the trail. So you get to go visit Indian Creek, then come back to the start of the trail where you're going to be snowshoeing on this day. And this is the trail that wraps around Bunsen Peak. Bunsen Peak, just a little side note, was named for the German chemist Robert Bunsen. Yes, it's the guy who studied geysers and invented the Bunsen burner. So that's where you have probably heard his name before. Anyway, you get to strap on your snowshoes and walk on this gentle trail through rolling timbered terrain with these great panoramic views of the glorious peaks of the Gallatin Range. And then you'll get to an overlook on Osprey Falls and then continue back down into Mammoth. So there is an excellent cafe called the Wonderland Cafe right there where you're staying at the lodge, and your total snowshoe mileage today was 6 miles. So day 3 of this Yellowstone winter adventure, you get to head right into the park's interior via the Grand Loop Road. The Grand Loop Road is closed to traffic in the winter, so it's really private and wonderful. And on this day, you get another snow coach. This one's a private snow coach, which is going to transport you for the whole day. So the cost for this snow coach, you just split it between all of the members of the group for the day. And the first stop is Norris Geyser Basin, which is the hottest, oldest, and the most dynamic of Yellowstone's thermal areas. It is where Steamboat Geyser is located, which is the tallest geyser in the world. Steamboat Geyser is not as faithful as Old Faithful, hence the name for Old Faithful, but it can shoot up to 400 feet in the air when it does erupt. So just amazing. So after Steamboat Geyser, then your snow coach takes you along the road, and most likely you will experience a few buffalo jams, which are Yellowstone's versions of traffic jams, before you arrive at your next destination, which is the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone. And you'll see really, really colorful stone interior, including the Yellowstone for which the park was named, and a couple of waterfalls that are just incredible. You get out and snowshoe along the rim, looking over the falls, and then you return to Mammoth back the same way that you came. So approximately 5 miles of snowshoeing today on this day. Okay, day 4, you have this nice hearty breakfast at the lodge and pack your lunch and tuck it into your pack. And then on this day, you go toward the park's northeast entrance and the Lamar Valley. So your first hike is a wide trail to the end of the Yellowstone Canyon and the Tower Fall overlook, where the Tower Creek drops 132 feet into the Yellowstone River. So this is super spectacular. Your second hike, you get to go visit one of the 3 wolf pens that were built for the reintroduction of wolves in the park back in 1995. And 3 wolves transported from Canada were housed in this historic pen until they would acclimatize and not run back north to Canada. They wanted them to get acclimatized to the Yellowstone Park. And the pen was opened after several months, and the 3 wolves came out and began their new life in Yellowstone. So that was how they were reintroduced back to Yellowstone. This afternoon, you have the option of soaking in the natural mineral waters of Yellowstone Hot Springs if you want to. Okay, day 5. This is your last day on this Yellowstone adventure. You get up early, enjoy one last snowshoe down the old stagecoach road from Mammoth all the way back down to the hotel in Gardner. Beautiful vistas of towering snow-covered peaks, herds of bison and elk, and the glittering waters of the Yellowstone and Gardner rivers down below. So that's just kind of your last finale early morning snowshoeing hike. And then you'll have time to shower and pack before you check out, and then just return to Bozeman. So you can either stay longer or you can return home. And on this day, the snowshoe mileage is just 4 miles. So that is a really fun hiking option, a winter hiking snowshoeing option that I think is super fun. All right, let's move on to another form of adventure, which is biking. Biking, it has been said, I love this saying, is the perfect speed to see the world. Isn't that great? It's fast enough to get you from one place to another, but it's slow enough to not miss anything along the way. And even people who aren't really huge bikers, if you go on a biking trip or a biking tour, you still can do just great because there's alternate routes, a little bit shorter routes. There's usually also van support where there's vans that drive along with you and can pick you up at any time. And there's e-bikes. So there's lots of options. Even if you don't feel like you're a super strong biker, you can easily go on a biking trip if you're interested in this. So of course, biking is another activity that you can do. Many resorts or hotels or locations have bikes that you can either rent, or some are free that you can borrow, and just go biking around in whatever location that you're in. So that is fun. But I want to highlight today, kind of step it up a level and highlight a Switzerland biking adventure. So this is really great. It has all of these fun biking trails all throughout the Rhine River Valley in Switzerland. There are scheduled departures, just like with the last trip that I talked about, or you could book your own private tour if you had at least 12 people. I think it would be super fun to get a group of people together and do this as a private group. It could be coworkers or friends or family. If you had a couple families with maybe teenagers or adult kids, it would be a really fun way to see Switzerland by bike. So one thing I love about this biking adventure is that you really are mostly riding on flat paved bike paths that are free of cars, or else you're on these rural country roads. So it's not, you imagine Switzerland and you think of these high Swiss Alps and all of this climbing and really difficult terrain, but that's not what this is. This is a really nice biking experience. This trip has a really good series of pretty simple routes for cyclists. The routes were originally designed as inline skating paths, and so it makes it so it's super easy for cyclists. There are longer options available every single day for people who want more of a challenge or want to be on their bikes longer or see more. And like I said before, you are enjoying the beautiful alpine Rhine Valley. It's got the Rhine River, it's got Lake Constance. And so I just wanted to highlight this tour as just kind of a fun option that you could do sometime. So on day one, you meet in the town called Bad Ragaz. It's, if you look at it and you were saying it in English rather than with your more Swiss intonation, you would say Bad Ragaz, but it's called Bad Ragaz. It's this swanky spa town that is located in the upper Rhine River Valley and right at the foot of the Alps. So this beautiful location. This picture that I'm showing is actually of one of the cycling paths right in Bad Ragaz. You bike from your centrally located hotel using a series of town bike paths, a paved trail on the Rhine River Dike, and small farming roads to the wine village over to Milans, which only has a population of about 2,300 people. So that is on the first day what you're going to do. You can do some wine tasting there if you like, and then bike back. If you want a longer ride on this day, then you have the option of several small roads that kind of do switchbacks uphill into the nearby mountains. So there's lots of chances for longer bike rides if you would like. Your distance is about 10 miles if you don't do the longer routes. or only about 16 miles if you do a little bit longer ones. Okay, so then on day 2, you bicycle on Switzerland's regional Route 53. And this is a route that is really, really great, really nice. From Bad Ragaz out to the Wallensee, which is a large lake with towering cliffs looming straight up from the water. And this path first takes you through this really flat but idyllic little agricultural valley. And then you get to the lake, and it nestles between the waters and the railroad tracks with these fast-moving trains that are whizzing past. Once you get to this Wallensee River and valley, you can either take that local train back to Bad Ragaz, or you can just reverse and go back on your bike. For an even longer route, you can climb the narrow one-lane paved road from the shores of the Wallensee up into the hills. So the shortest route for this day would be 14 miles. You can do 28 miles if you do the round trip, or you can do 35 if you want to do the extra little excursions. Okay, day 3 of your Swiss biking adventure, you start with an optional 3-mile hike in Bad Ragaz, so you can see kind of the surrounding areas into the hills and a view of the valley and see the town below. And then your bike route this day, you're going down the Rhine Valley, paralleling the Rhine River, using mostly small farming and country roads with no traffic. Your hotel, you move hotels this night, and so you are staying in the small town of Books, and it's situated right next to a lake and a short stroll to the village of Württemberg, with its almost 800-year-old castle and amazing old wooden buildings. A longer option today takes you into Liechtenstein and uphill to the ski resort and the vacation town called Madun. So your distance today is 10 miles if you do the shorter option, or 24 miles if you want to go into Liechtenstein and do the longer option. Day 4. And if you are watching the video, you get to see all of these amazing pictures of the Swiss countryside. So it's just so beautiful. So on day 4, you keep moving down the Rhine Valley, and today's route reveals much about real life in Switzerland, because you get to bike past farmers in their fields, the school kids shouting on their playground, families barbecuing in a local park, or old ladies shuffling home from the store with a bag of groceries. So you will see all of these types of just normal scenes. And your destination today is called Altstatten, which is a historic walled village. If your legs aren't tired by the time you get to Altstatten, you can take a beautiful loop ride to the town of Appenzell. Appenzell is cool. It's a car-free medieval village, which is famous for its cheese and this really classic Swiss setting in a really green, verdant valley at the base of the mountain peaks. So if you go the shorter route, it's 7 miles today, 14, or 29 are your options for biking. Okay, day 5. Day 5, you finish your time in the Rhine Valley by biking down to the town of St. Margarethen. And at St. Margarethen, you have a choice. You can either continue down the Bodensee bike path and onto Romanshorn on the shores of the lake, which is where you end up for the night, or you can take a side jaunt to Bregenz. Bregenz is a swanky Austrian town with a wonderful downtown. So they really have a fun nightlife in Bregenz. Tonight you sleep in an 800-year-old castle. So, and I've enclosed a picture of it here. Your distances today are a little farther. You're either going 22 miles for the short or 33 miles for the longer. Okay, now we're on to day 6 in your Switzerland biking adventure. Today you bicycle on to the famous Bodensee bicycle route, which is the Bodensee bike route total is a 4-day tour around Lake Constance, which is now the most popular bicycle tour in Europe. Second most popular bicycle tour in Europe, sorry. Today's route is an out, and you can come back if you want to do both, out route and in route if you want to, that parallels the lake the whole way, but it takes you through these cute little towns and past seaside cafes. On the way, to the city of Kreuzlingen. And the long option of the day, even longer, is to cross another border into Germany and this time go into Konstanz with a loop around the Untersee Lake. So you can go 10 miles. If you take the whole loop out and back, you can go 20 miles, or you can even go 43 miles if you want to take the little side route into Germany. That's super fun, no matter what you decide. All right, day 7. This is the last morning of your trip. And this day you go biking the other direction along Lake Constance. This is one of the best stretches. It was saved for last. Your path is totally smooth, straight, and totally free of cars. And your destination on this morning is the small town called Arbon. And it's situated on the water, and you can, get a little morning breakfast or coffee with the sea breezes. After you return to the hotel, you can shower and then have time to check out, take the train back to Zurich or wherever your travels take you. So on this day, the little bike trip to Arbon was just 8 miles round trip. So super fun. Little spotlight on a Swiss biking adventure. All right, let's shift gears and just talk about some other adventures real quick. Other adventures, of course, include things like horseback riding, zip lining, canyoning, whitewater rafting, skiing, kayaking, fishing, safariing, and so many other activities. Like, it's just hard to even name them. There's just so many and so much to do. And I've included a picture of a couple on this page. One is skiing, which is super fun. And the other one is a picture of a ropes course. I just wanted to tell you about one little trip that I love, and it involves a variety of adventures for your whole family. Recommended ages 5 and up. So if you have kids younger than 5, I'd wait a little bit. But this is in Stowe, Vermont, this beautiful little town of Stowe, Vermont. And it includes hiking on the Von Trapp family property. Yes, that is the Von Trapps from The Sound of Music. Riding a gondola up to Mount Mansfield, canoeing on the Lamoille River, trying some stand-up paddleboarding, and doing a ropes course. So there's plenty of time on this trip left for the pool, eating ice cream, bowling, playing mini golf. Like, there's just so much to do in this little area. This adventure also has some scheduled dates similar to the ones that I've talked about already today. But if you want to schedule your own and just go with your own little group, be sure to have at least 10 people. So that can include a combination of adults and kids. Like I said, it's best ages 5 and up, but any ages of adults, it's really fun to do with either an extended family with grandparents or aunts and uncles and kids and parents, or it's fun to do with maybe your family and 1 or 2 other families and just go and do this amazing little adventure in Vermont. So let me know if you'd like more details about that. So, are you feeling inspired? Are you ready to get out and have some adventures the next time you travel? Planning your adventures does not need to feel overwhelming or take up all your time. Between having me as your number 1 helper and possibly going on a guided adventure like I've detailed here, where you have 1 or 2 people that are kind of doing all the planning and all of the hard work all along the way, so that all you have to do is enjoy it, then really all you need to do is decide what you want to do and when and who you're taking, and then get ready to just have the most fun ever. So I appreciate you joining me today. It's been really fun to talk about all this adventure. It makes me super excited to get out there and go on some fun travel adventures. And hopefully it has made you excited too. So see you next time. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining me today. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share, subscribe, or leave a review. If you'd like to contact me about a vacation, the best way is to visit my website, sweetdreamstravel.net. To connect on social media, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or LinkedIn. See you next time.